Imagine being mocked by one of the richest people in the world, just because of the uniform you wear. That's exactly what happened to Jamal, a black janitor, until he sat at a grand piano and played like Mozart. What happened next shocked everyone in the room and changed his life forever. Watch the full story to see how courage, talent, and dignity turned mockery into respect. And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because stories like Jamal's prove that black excellence can never be ignored. By the way, tell us in the comments, where are you watching this from? We'd love to know. The mansion was magnificent, a gleaming testament to wealth and success, its polished floors reflecting chandeliers that sparkle like captured stars. But for Jamal Carter, the janitor responsible for keeping it pristine, the grandeur of the estate was less an invitation and more a constant reminder of the walls that separated him from the world of privilege he served. Jamal had grown up in a neighborhood where opportunity was scarce, where dreams often remained just that, dreams. Yet despite the odds, he had cultivated a life of quiet discipline and relentless determination. His hands, roughened by years of labor, carried a hidden elegance, a secret talent that he rarely revealed to anyone. On one particular afternoon, the household's billionaire owner, Edwina Harrington, leaned casually against the doorway of the music room. Edwina was known for her wealth, her commanding presence, and her sharp intellect. She had a reputation for getting her way, and the idea that anyone could impress or challenge her was foreign. She had heard whispers from her staff that Jamal occasionally lingered near the grand piano in the corner of the room, the ebony instrument that had cost more than most people's homes. Curious and admittedly amused, Edwina decided to confront the janitor directly, not knowing that this encounter would shatter her assumptions forever. "Play this piano," Edwina demanded, a smirk playing on her lips. "I'll marry you if you can impress me." Her words were meant to mock, a casual challenge steeped in condescension, laced with the invisible chains of racial and social prejudice. She expected fumbling fingers, amateurish notes, a performance that would reaffirm her belief that talent could not hide behind the uniform of service. Jamal, who had faced his share of derision in a society that too often judged a man by the color of his skin or the nature of his work, felt a familiar tension coil in his chest. He knew the stakes were far more than a wager. They were a test of respect, of dignity, of the power that lies in unrecognized brilliance. For a moment, Jamal hesitated, eyes scanning the polished keys that had witnessed generations of music. Then, with quiet determination, he settled onto the bench. The room fell silent, the usual echoes of the mansion momentarily muted. Edwina leaned back, expecting amusement, perhaps a chuckle at the janitor's expense. But what came next would leave even the most cynical observer breathless. Jamal's fingers moved across the keys with fluid precision, each note deliberate yet effortless, a cascade of sound that was both powerful and profoundly intimate. The melody wove itself through the room, a tapestry of harmony and emotion that transcended the walls of privilege, reaching into the heart of everyone present. As the music swelled, Edwina's smirk faded, replaced by an expression of stunned awe. This was no ordinary performance. This was mastery. Jamal's playing revealed years of self-taught dedication, a life shaped not by entitlement but by perseverance, curiosity, and unyielding passion. Every chord, every arpeggio told a story of struggle, of moments of isolation, of the countless times he had been overlooked or underestimated. Yet here he was, transforming ridicule into reverence, mockery into a breathtaking display of excellence. The piano no longer seemed like an instrument. It was a vessel through which Jamal asserted his identity, his dignity, and his unspoken defiance. The staff, who had gathered silently at the edges of the room, exchanged glances heavy with admiration. Many had witnessed Jamal's quiet resilience over the years, but none had expected this. The melody carried an almost magical weight, demanding attention and respect. In that moment, Edwina's assumptions crumbled. The man she had sought to humiliate had not only risen above the challenge, but had redefined it entirely. The billionaire, accustomed to controlling every narrative around her, suddenly found herself powerless before the undeniable force of talent and character. When the final note lingered and faded, the room remained in stunned silence. Edwina's eyes, wide and unblinking, were fixed on Jamal. She felt an unfamiliar sensation, a mixture of awe and uncomfortably humility. I didn't know," she murmured, words faltering under the weight of revelation. "I didn't know you could do that." Jamal simply nodded, the faintest trace of a smile crossing his lips. He did not gloat. He did not demand acknowledgement. The performance had spoken for him, asserting a truth that could not be diminished. Talent and dignity are not confined by social standing or race. They exist within the individual, waiting for the moment to shine, to command recognition, and to transform perception. News of the performance spread quickly through the household and beyond, carried by whispers, then stories, then social media posts that celebrated the unexpected brilliance of a man who had long been unseen. Jamal's life, once defined by quiet perseverance, became a testament to the power of resilience and the transformative effect of self-belief. People were captivated not only by his musical genius, but by the way he had confronted prejudice without anger, how he had let his talent speak louder than the ridicule intended to diminish him. Each story retold emphasized a deeper truth, that dignity, once asserted, can challenge even the most entrenched notions of superiority. In the days that followed, Jamal's life shifted in ways he had never anticipated. The mansion, once a space that symbolized social hierarchy and separation, now felt different. The staff treated him with a new respect, not born from fear or obligation, but from genuine acknowledgement of his talent and character. Conversations that had once been perfunctory became warm and engaging. Some colleagues who had previously overlooked him approached with curiosity, asking about his background, his training, and the music that seemed to flow effortlessly from his soul. Jamal spoke modestly, deflecting praise with humility, yet every word carried the quiet authority of experience and resilience. Edwina Harrington, meanwhile, could not escape the transformation that had taken root in her own perception. The billionaire, accustomed to the deference of wealth, now faced a humbling reality. Brilliance and dignity are not granted by titles or money. They exist independently, waiting for recognition. She began to observe Jamal with a different lens, seeing not just the janitor who maintained her home, but the man who had transformed an ordinary afternoon into a profound lesson in humanity. There was an honesty to Jamal's presence, an authenticity Edwina could not manufacture, and it unsettled her in ways she had not expected. The mockery that had once seemed harmless now felt cruel in retrospect, a reflection of her own prejudice more than Jamal's limitations. In the weeks following that unforgettable afternoon, Jamal's life began to change in ways he had never imagined. The mansion, once a space that symbolized social hierarchy and unapproachable wealth, now felt different. The staff, who had quietly admired him for years, now openly expressed respect. Simple greetings carried warmth, conversations lingered a little longer, and colleagues who had once overlooked him now sought his insight and perspective. Jamal, ever humble, accepted this new recognition with quiet grace, knowing that the true victory lay not in applause, but in the affirmation of dignity long denied. Edwina Harrington, meanwhile, found herself grappling with emotions she had never expected. Accustomed to control and the deferential behavior of everyone around her, she was unsettled by Jamal's effortless brilliance. His music had pierced through her preconceptions and forced her to confront her own biases. The experience lingered in her thoughts, creating an internal shift that was both humbling and enlightening. She had challenged him out of amusement and superiority, but in the wake of his performance, she realized the depth of her misjudgment. There was a raw authenticity in Jamal, a humanity she had never learned to see in the people she regarded as beneath her notice. The turning point came when Edwina invited Jamal to perform at a private gathering she hosted for friends and associates. Initially, Jamal hesitated, understandably wary of the spotlight and the potential for scrutiny, but he accepted. The evening arrived, and as Jamal's fingers danced across the keys, the room was transported. The music was more than technical mastery. It was a story of struggle, perseverance, and unrecognized brilliance. Each note conveyed the hardships of a life spent quietly navigating a world that too often dismissed him, and the triumph of talent that could not be constrained by circumstance. The guests, many of whom wielded power in cultural, corporate, and social spheres, were mesmerized not merely by the technical brilliance, but by the authenticity and emotion woven into every melody. Word of Jamal's performance spread far beyond the walls of the mansion. Social media snippets went viral, highlighting the irony of Edwina's challenge and the stunning result. News outlets picked up the story, framing it as a tale of talent triumphing over prejudice. Interviews explored Jamal's life, the neighborhoods he had grown up in, the obstacles he had overcome, and the countless hours he had spent mastering his craft in private. The narrative resonated universally. A black janitor, underestimated and mocked, had revealed a brilliance that demanded recognition. His story became symbolic of the countless untold stories of black excellence overlooked by society. Despite the acclaim, Jamal remained grounded. Fame was never his objective. Affirmation of his dignity and the chance to inspire others was his true aim. He began mentoring young musicians from underrepresented communities, offering guidance, opportunities, and encouragement that had been scarce in his own journey. Jamal knew intimately the weight of being invisible, of having talent dismissed due to race or social status. Through teaching and performing, he turned his success into a platform for empowerment, showing others that their gifts could shine, even when the world doubted them. Edwina's transformation was just as remarkable. She funded scholarships, initiated music programs, and publicly acknowledged the importance of opportunity and recognition in nurturing talent. Her actions were motivated by both admiration for Jamal's genius and a growing awareness of her own complicity in perpetuating prejudice. The mansion, once a symbol of exclusivity and hierarchy, became a place where merit and dedication were celebrated, where talent could thrive irrespective of social standing. Edwina's evolution from mocker to mentor, from skeptic to advocate, underscored the story's core message. Brilliance demands acknowledgement, and dignity cannot be ignored. Each performance, each public appearance, and each mentorship reinforced the lessons Jamal had embodied from the beginning: resilience, dignity, and the transformative power of self-belief. He emphasized in interviews and speeches that moments of prejudice and ridicule, though painful, could become catalysts for growth and assertion of one's worth. His narrative encouraged audiences to recognize the hidden talents around them and to challenge assumptions that diminish the value of individuals based on occupation, race, or circumstance. As years passed, Jamal's legacy continued to grow. He became a symbol of black excellence and the triumph of persistence over invisibility. His story reached young people navigating systemic obstacles, encouraging them to nurture their gifts and assert their worth. Jamal's journey illustrated that true recognition does not require entitlement, status, or wealth, only courage, dedication, and the resolve to step into the light, even when the world doubts you. Edwina, too, became a beacon of change, often citing Jamal's story in discussions on diversity, inclusion, and equity. She had learned that wealth and influence, while powerful, are insufficient for understanding human potential. True insight requires humility, attentiveness, and the willingness to confront one's own biases. Her journey highlighted that those in positions of privilege have the responsibility and the opportunity to uplift talent that may otherwise remain unseen. The societal impact was undeniable. Jamal's story sparked broader conversations about racial bias, the underestimation of black professionals, and the systemic barriers that conceal brilliance. His music, his mentorship, and his unwavering dignity inspired articles, panel discussions, and social media campaigns, all emphasizing that talent exists everywhere, often in unexpected places, and should never be overlooked. Through it all, Jamal never lost sight of the day that changed everything, the day mockery was met with mastery, and assumptions were dismantled by undeniable talent. That afternoon at the grand piano became a symbol of the power of dignity and courage, of the way brilliance can transcend prejudice, and of the profound effect one individual can have on those around them. It was a reminder that true change does not always come from confrontation or conflict, but often through the quiet assertion of skill, character, and humanity. In reflection, Jamal understood that his triumph was not simply about winning recognition from Edwina Harrington or gaining public acclaim. It was about affirming his own worth and inspiring others to do the same. He had demonstrated that resilience, passion, and dignity could challenge even the most entrenched biases, and that excellence, once revealed, cannot be ignored. His story, shared and retold across platforms and generations, became a testament to the enduring strength of character and the transformative power of talent. Ultimately, the mansion, the grand piano, and Edwina's astonishment were no longer symbols of wealth or status. They had become emblems of recognition, justice, and the brilliance that exists within those who refuse to be invisible. Jamal's journey illuminated a universal truth. When courage meets talent, when dignity meets opportunity, the world takes notice and assumptions are forever changed. And so, a black janitor, once mocked and underestimated, had played like Mozart, not for fame or fortune, but to assert his worth, inspire others, and demonstrate the unyielding power of resilience and excellence. In the end, his music was more than sound. It was a declaration, a victory, and a call to recognize the dignity, talent, and potential that exists in every human being, waiting for the world to see.